yo, it's your boy Ancient Albatross here behind the scenes as usual these days, but we have the Cypher Unlimited crew -1, unfortunately, no Dean. But we have this ever lovely Spiggs 18 or Anthony and a lovely guest, but we'll get right to that. But just as a quick reminder, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us here on Twitch and subscribe to us over on YouTube. It's great help for our channel, and we are also live on Moonbeam on the Anywhere door, which is Monty Cook Games' new streaming platform that they're trying to cultivate and bring up. They're trying to gather as many Monty Cook Games content creators as they can, and yeah, that is the platform, and we are also live there, so come check it out if you haven't yet. But without further ado, Anthony, what are we doing here tonight?
First and foremost, there's only 5 days left for CypherCon, so if you haven't signed up to run games for CypherCon, if you haven't signed up, please go to the Cypher Unlimited Discord server. We have a few slots available, as many GMs as we possibly can. Come play some Cypher, run some Cypher System for our awesome community, and we'll forever love you for it. But today we're talking to Devon Kalo, more affectionately known as Crazy Weasel. He's a school teacher, a game designer, editor, and a pillar of the Cypher Unlimited community. He's published several great adventures on Drive to RPG, has many more coming down the pike. So Devon, say hi to the crowd. Say hi to the full 13 people we have here.
Hello, everyone.
So, Dev, this is your first time on the CU stream, not first time visiting the stream, but first time on. So, let our viewers know a little bit about yourself and maybe your gaming experience.
Okay, so you kind of gave me a little bit of the intro. So yeah, I am a school teacher. That's my day job, but I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for a little over a decade at this point. Stumbled on a Cypher a couple years ago, and I'm here, so writing all my adventures for Cypher. So
what was your gateway drug into RPGs?
Believe it or not, novels. I stumbled on the Dragonlance novels when I was a kid, and I saw a D&D logo on the side of it and started. I was like, "Hey, you want to go play D&D with me?" To a couple of my childhood friends, and it all went from there.
Yeah, those Dragonlance novels, that and Dritz, you always hear, the Icewind. I mean, what was it, Crystal Shard? Those are the two most common. But yeah, so what edition did you start with?
So I did start with 5th edition. That was my intro to tabletop role playing games. Yeah, I'm young and fairly new to role playing games.
I mean, you still got 10 years under your belt. That's not new. That's that's borderline vet status. So before we get into what you're here to promote, and we'll get into the meaty part of the conversation, right? But you've been a member of the CU Discord for some time now. How did you find us? And do you have any memories you want to share about the community?
So I stumbled onto CU. I think I found you guys around the time that I was getting into Cypher System. So that would have been 2019, 2020, right around there. Because when I find a new game system, I do a deep dive. I look for any actual plays I can find, any podcasts, any streamed games, anything I can find to try to learn the system beyond just reading it. And I found you guys. As far as memories on the community, I don't even know where to start with that. There's so many. I think I was telling you guys before the stream, this is one of the best online communities that I've found. I mean that wholeheartedly. Met a lot of good people. But if I had to pick one thing, I guess it would be CypherCon last year. That was kind of it was only my second con, because work schedule gets kind of crazy, but second ever con, and it was a blast. First time running a con game.
Oh, how did it go?
I went really well. They seemed to have a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, so I think that's a victory in my books.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate. That's basically why you run a con game for. If your players have fun, that's it. Mission accomplished.
Right.
Speaking of CypherCon, I was at your website today, and you have a freaking CypherCon hoodie on in your website today.
I forgot about that.
No, you don't know how happy that made me. I was actually at work, like going through your website, just basically like, let me make sure I know everything that's going on with Devon. And I saw that, and I was like, holy shit, he has a Cypher card. I was like cheering in my office. People thought I was crazy.
Yeah, that's a fairly recent picture.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That really surprised me. So, you have a few. Oh, before I even go into that, if you have any questions for Devon or me, like always, we have a couple of questions lined up. But once we're done, just preface it with the word question in chat, and Al will cut and paste it into our show notes document, and we'll ask Devon any questions. Ask away, whatever the hell you want to ask. We're here to answer. But you have a few Cypher adventures on drive-through, like the Curse of Sleeping Harrow, Morian's Mind Stone, among others. What made you want to start designing adventures, and what made you want to start designing for Cypher System specific?
So first and foremost, starting designing adventures, also fairly new for me. You mentioned Curse of Sleeping Harrow. That's the first adventure I put out. It was actually written for a game jam, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try my hand at this. This looks fun. The prompt was to write an adventure that involved a headless horseman, and I was like, I want to do so. I like that idea. I want to do something different, something I haven't really seen done. And so I was like, I'm gonna make the headless horseman a good guy, and it just started from this little game jam, and I was like, that was a lot of fun. And I made it my New Year's resolution that I was just going to put stuff out as I had ideas.
I really love the fact that every single one of your products is pay what you want. And on your website, you even say, hey, look, take them for free if you want. I just want people to play my stuff, which is very cool.
Yes. That has been kind of my guiding philosophy. I do have a couple people behind me on the team. So Crazy Weasel Gaming is the website. You see we, but you only ever see my face. But I do have a couple people behind me doing a little bit of work here and there, and that was one of the things I insisted with them, is that we have to keep things moving, pay what you want or free.
Do you have any advice for people that want to start doing self-publishing on drive-through? What have you learned so far in the products that you put out?
Honestly, one of the biggest things I've had to learn is layout. I know there's a couple people in the CU and at least one person watching who does layout as part of their day job, and
can't help that hack.
I have a lot of respect for them because it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work.
And for those that don't know, I'm obviously joking. Caleb's a great friend of mine, and he does phenomenal work. But I bust chops, so. So you did all your own layouts for everything? So you're self-taught doing layouts?
Yep. Everything I've done. I've gotten a little advice from Ked and old Gus, but and that advice has been very helpful. But a lot of it is just self-taught, figuring it out as I go.
Was there imposter syndrome fear putting out your first product? That's not one of my questions. I'm just curious because I suffer from imposter syndrome myself.
I am literally walking imposter syndrome. That's why when you asked me to do this interview, I was like, yeah, I'll do it, but like.
Oh, that's another thing. We'll go back and tell the story how Devon got on the show in the first place. Devon played in my playtest for my CypherCon game, right? And then after the game was over, we were chatting on camera, and he just like mentioned in passing, "Oh, I got like 5 or 6 products on drive-through." So I went and looked them up, and I'm like, "Yo, dude." Like, everyone knows I'm a loudmouth. Everyone knows on the server I'm a loudmouth. That's what I do. I'm a New Yorker. Sue me. Right? I was like, hey, why didn't you ever ask me, hey, can I come promote this stuff? And Devon's like, I don't know. I was like, dude, do you want to come on the show? I don't know. And I'm like, no, you're coming on the show. We'll set up a date. It was hilarious. And, that's what we personally, we love. And this goes out to anybody in the community. If you're doing cool stuff and I personally haven't reached out to you, please, I'm saying it now on air, please reach out to us, because one of the things that me and Al specifically, when we first started this, really wanted to do was highlight all the great things people in the community are doing. So if I haven't seen you and I haven't reached out to you, please reach out to us, because we definitely want to have you on to help you promote, help you highlight all the great things you're doing. And, that's what a community is, a family. We take care of each other. So anything we could do to help, please let us know. But, like, to go back to you, you mentioned earlier about you're working on a new project. Oh, you mentioned it offline. Can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Yeah, so my main focus now, I'm taking, and what has been a focus of mine for a while, I am working on a campaign setting, and I recently made the decision to pull it over into Cypher. So there's a little bit of stuff about it on the website, not a lot. It is very far from finished, but I am trying to hold to my New Year's resolution to get it done by the end of the year, or at least written by the end of the year. It's called Antediluvian Awakening, which is, I'm a huge high fantasy fan, but a couple years ago I stumbled on Flintlock fantasy, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And so Antediluvian Awakening is a Renaissance fantasy, and so the world is kind of coming out of its dark age, this oppression by Corduth, the Undying King, and it's kind of this rebirth of civilization, this rediscovery of older magics that have been lost, this discovery of new technology. So you've got printing presses and microscopes next to wizards hurling fireballs.
Oh, that sounds awesome. How far along are you?
I think at last check I was at like 270 something pages.
Oh yeah, so you're definitely moving along.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of the rewrite and editing stage. There's still some sections I haven't touched, but it's a lot of going back through what I've already written and trying to bring it in line with the newer stuff that I've written.
Aside from the setting itself, are you planning to have any like new types or new foci, stuff like that?
Definitely new foci, and I'm going to give a shout out to Charlie on this one because he in a conversation we had a while back, we were talking about and debating power levels with two descriptors, and he mentioned something about having used like the character elf, dwarf, things like that as flavor instead. And I really, really like that idea because it gives a person the ability to say, okay, I want to be an elf, but I want to be an elf that was raised by dwarves. So I'll take, just a couple biological things about elves, but, I'm not trained in archery because I didn't grow up around elves.
You talking about race as descriptor?
So because you do the so
I've never seen any of my videos. I'm definitely anti-race.
That's not what I'm doing because so it's specifically going to be I call them lineages. So lineage as a flavor.
Oh, okay.
So
as a flavor, so you pick and choose from. Oh, okay.
Correct. Yes.
I think you said race as a descriptor.
No, doing it as a flavor so that players can pick and choose abilities tied to their lineage, but not have to take all of them for the character fantasy idea.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, I cannot take the credit for that. That was all Charlie who suggested that idea.
Oh, now, Charlie, you heard that. You get 50% of all proceeds that come from the Senate book. If you need help finding a lawyer, I'll find you proper representation. What about the Cypher system do you enjoy the most? And I'll put you on the spot. If you could change one thing about the system, what would it be?
Oh, throwing a curveball.
And Monty's probably going to watch this on replay. Nah, I'm just
just dialing up the pressure. What do I like the most about the Cypher system? I'll tell you what brought me to the Cypher system. So I jumped ship from Dungeons and Dragons probably around 2017 because I was looking for a system that was more flexible. I found D&D was very, very rigid, and sometimes the mechanics didn't allow for what I thought was good storytelling. And I bumbled through a couple other systems, and reading Cypher System and seeing the ability to use experience to give the players a chance to influence the narrative was really cool. That whole idea of it's a communal game, and I can spend XP and I can put the spotlight on myself for just a second and live out that character fantasy, this idea that this person who I've invested so much energy in can shape the narrative as much as whatever the story arc might be.
You know what's funny about player intrusions? Some people, like, for the life of me, I don't understand why hate that mechanic. Like, really? I know several people that, like, they're like, oh, I don't like the whole Cypher system. I know several GMs that can't stand the player intrusion mechanic. I'm not talking about Cypher GMs, just, role players in general. And several players that are not fan. And I'm like, why wouldn't you be a fan of being able to control the story for a couple of seconds? It makes zero sense to me.
Is it the mechanic itself, or is it the idea of spending XP? Because I have a buddy who is very hesitant to play Cypher System because he doesn't want to use his XP for things that aren't character advancement.
Yeah. I think from the GM perspective, I think it's that whole idea of a shared narrative isn't their thing, maybe. Like I can't put words in their mouth, but like the whole concept of, oh, you're gonna allow the player to control my story could be off-putting to them. But for me, that was like one of the, like GM intrusions and player intrusions was like, okay, I'm sold. When I first played Numenera back in the day, like 10 years ago, I'm sold. This is the game for me. So I don't understand that whole, like, why.
He's not here to say it, so I'll say it. They didn't have their paradigm shift.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you change? We got to put you on the spot.
Oh, yeah. What would I change?
And don't give the Dean answer. I wouldn't change it.
Honestly, probably the easiest thing would be, or the thing I think would be most beneficial would be some renaming of things. We see all the time people come into the CU and they get confused over effort and edge, and also I think just changing that name XP would change how people view it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely that when people hear XP, they think it's like, oh, so I'm using the points that's going to allow me to advance for something other than me advancing my character. No, thank you.
Exactly.
But
And
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, in the couple settings I've seen where they have changed it, like in Mystery Flesh Pit and Void Home, I think it has encouraged players to use it.
I think the initial, when they first designed Numenera, I think they wanted to use common terms so people would like get an idea. Oh, this is similar to this other game I played. But now that it's been out in the wild for 10 plus years, it could definitely use a revision. And speaking of revision, right? Let's get the elephant that's in the room out the way now, right? What are your thoughts about the possible changes to the Cypher system? And we asked this question last week. What is I was calling it the oh shit moment, right? What would surprise the hell out of you if you saw that they did change?
I am optimistic about the new changes. When I saw the announcement that they were like, follow to get the new information on the changes that are coming, I was optimistic more than anything else.
You mean you didn't have your pitchfork out?
I did not, because they said from the very beginning, like, that things were going to be backwards compatible. And if I don't like something, I'll just use the book that's behind me here. Like, if I don't like something, I'll just use the old rule. We look at 2015 Cypher, that rule book still works 100% of the time if you want to use it. Expanded Worlds still has some of my favorite foci in it.
Yeah, Expanded Worlds was a great book when it came out. So what would be your oh shit moment if you opened up the new book and something changed?
Oh, that's a great question. If they changed pools, I think, if the way pools worked was different. Magnus is still a big shift for me, and how it's shifted over to the industry injury system. Wow, stumbling there. When it changed over to the injury system, that's something I'm still trying to wrap my head around. So if they change the way pools work, I think that would throw me.
Yeah, that would be pretty weird. You know what mine was? Last week I said if they made the GM start rolling dice, that would be a line in the sand that I.
Yeah, that would definitely be weird. That would definitely be weird.
I wear one cross. Yeah, that would be horrible.
I mean, I roll dice behind my screen, but it's mainly for tables, like D20 tables, D100 tables. Yeah, that would be weird to going back to like rolling for hitting against the player or something.
Yeah, that would. I personally think that would suck. I love the fact that GMs don't roll dice. It opens up so much mental space for you to think of other things, like how to torture your players later.
And I think it helped me with a mindset change, like the not rolling dice, because I find that if I'm not rolling against them, I'm able to cheer for them. Like I find myself with Cypher System cheering for my players when they do something awesome more than I ever did with any other system I played.
And you have zero culpability. If something bad happens, hey, I had nothing to do with it. I think that's why most of the time I give you the target number, because it's like, hey, you know exactly what you have to roll to. You can waste your XP to re-roll if you want. Now you roll, like in our game where your guys rolled 3 1s consecutively. I had nothing to do with it.
No, that was all me.
Yeah. I could just back away and just say, hey, look, it was your dice, zero control. I love that feeling. It's almost freeing as a GM. But some people love, all the dice goblins out there, they love rolling dice. And I think that was another thing that a lot of, like, as a GM, you're like, I have all these dice, I want to use them. So lend them to the players or play once in a while. I know you mostly a forever GM, but I've seen you out there playing lately.
Yeah. A little bit more and it's definitely a little step outside my comfort zone, oddly enough. I really do enjoy being behind the screen, so to speak.
Do you think that being a player makes you a better GM?
I think so. I do, because when I have played with like my home group, I find myself like knowing what's probably going through the GM's mind and trying to kind of steer things or help somebody else out. So I think it does help when you've been a GM to know, or when you've been a player, when you've been both, I think it helps you to be better at both.
When I'm learning a new system, I prefer to be the player first, like before I run it. And I was in the same boat as you. I was the forever. I met Al because he was part of my in-person gaming group, and I was always the forever GM. But I personally I love to play in other people's games. I learn something new every time I'm a player in someone else's game. Just like little things, phrasing, scene structure, a certain pacing element. There's always something you can learn from someone else. And
even if it's I was going to say, even if it's not the system that you're playing, because I have learned so much about GMing from watching somebody else play Star Wars Force and Destiny.
I actually liked the Fantasy Flight Star Wars. I was running that for a little bit as well.
Yeah, and I have brought some of that into my Cypher GMing. Like when my players roll their ones, I ask them what happens. It's something I picked up from a Fantasy Flight GM.
Out of all the Monty Cook Games products they produce, right? What is your favorite, and what game do you wish you could play more that you haven't?
Ooh, that is a difficult question.
That's what we do. We ask the hard.
I know. Making me think here. Coming in, telling me they're all going to be easy questions. I can bunt it, and you're making me think. Um,
That's called the switcheroo.
I think my favorite products to come out of Monty Cook games are the Strange. Because before we had the white books, like that's where I went for sci-fi stuff. That's where I went for fantasy stuff because it was the line that had everything. And in my opinion, it's the product that really can show what Cypher System can do because it does everything. That being said, I think you asked what product I wish I could be more involved in. I wish the Strange in general could be more active, but I think the character sheet mechanic and the focus mechanic with translation kind of steers a lot of people away from it.
But you know, Monty Cook did say that the Strange was the precursor to Cypher System. When they made the Strange, they realized, hey, this is a universal system. We could make it a universal system.
Yeah, and I think that's evident in the fact that it's got how many books and they have how many genres. I before we had either Cypher System rulebook, I think the Strange really showed the power that Cypher System has.
Yeah, and the Strange books in general, every one of those are a kick-ass book. If you look at all the Strange books, those are probably some of my favorite books of all time from the list. Every single one of them.
Oh yeah, I very quickly collected the entire set of the Strange because they are so good.
You got World's Numberless, right?
Yeah, I think it's on the shelf behind me. I think
when we did our top 5 books of all time, that's in my top 5.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah,
I think that one in the Cypher System Bestiary are both really high up there for me.
Yeah. You never mentioned Numenera. Were you never a Numenera guy?
Honestly, I have never played Numenera.
What? Oh, we gotta change that in CypherCon. You gotta jump into at least one of the Numenera games. That was my entry drug into Cypher System. Was Numenera.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like a lot of fun. I've watched Numenera live plays, but I've just never had the chance to sit down and play it.
That's actually pretty cool that you came in from the Strange as opposed to Numenera, because that's like most D&D players that played in the last 10 to 15 years, Forgotten Realms was their entry. And I would think for Cypher System, Numenera would be the Forgotten Realms of the Cypher System. So for you to come from a backdoor channel is actually pretty cool.
That's how I joined all my role-playing games. I came into D&D through Dragonlance, and that's not Forgotten Realms either.
Yeah, very true. Is there anything else that you want our audience to know, either about yourself, Crazy Weasel Gaming, something that I may have missed with our questions, and what can we look forward to in the future from Crazy Weasel Gaming?
No, I don't think I have anything else, but as far as what else is coming from Crazy Weasel Gaming, we've got our Antediluvian Awakening section or setting. Yes, Charlie, I do have a dog. Thank you. I actually have 2, and they are both very sweet things. But we have Antediluvian Awakening that is hopefully on the not too far horizon. I actually have been in contact with an author from one of the old Cyphercaster magazines, and he's given me some permission to do some stuff with a mechanic he created. So I'm eventually going to have a supplement coming out on tomes and using tomes to get story and mechanical advantages.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I'm the Cyphercaster magazine. That was actually a great publication.
Yeah, I bought the back catalog a couple months ago when they had a sale, and when I saw that tomes mechanic he wrote, I had to jump in and contact him and see if I could get a hold of that. And he was gracious enough to grant permission. So
I also think they had 1 or 2 episodes on YouTube at one time too. They had a little show structure for a little bit. I'm pretty sure they did.
That I'm not sure on, but I love the magazine. It's great.
If you have any questions for Devon or myself, just put it in the chat, preface it with the word question, and we'll definitely, I know KenHub has a question here, but this is your first time here, so we definitely going to do the rapid fire questions. I'll ask KenHub's question first, though. Are there any new options or mechanics in your setting?
So that is something I am working on, because one of the big themes in Antediluvian Awakening is the power of words. In the ancient past, like 80,000 years ago, there were titans, and their language can alter reality. And so I'm trying to figure out how to work in a mechanic for these words of power.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And actually, I make a brief mention to that in Morian's Mind Stone. The Morian character, who is the background of the adventure, was a true speaker, one of the people who knows words of power.
Nice. And it's a mix of modern fantasy. Old words are what's that? Good words. Such a good trope. I know Al was talking something about the spoken word, like poetry form would be hella cool.
Yeah, and so in this, one of the foci is definitely going to be who true speaks, and give I'm thinking of taking it. I'm thinking of doing kind of words of power as like subtle ciphers, and taking a little bit from the kind of wild magic focus from God Forsaken, and giving the true speaker an ability to pull words of power ciphers in the way the
that'd be cool. So everyone to have access to it. If you do that'd be
because I didn't want to restrict it to a focus, because they're words. If you find them, you can learn them. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of
a perfect connection with ciphers too, because they go away. Jason's talking about a rap battle. That'll be slinging spell. And you know that when we first started, we had a ton of people thinking that we were a freestyle, because Cypher means, a freestyle battle circle or freestyle rhyming circle. So we actually had a few people that associated Cypher Unlimited with freestyle rap battling.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. That, and of course solving puzzles. We still get people to this day that want to join the server and ask some random question. Charlie asks, when do you want to play Gravitine again?
Charlie, if you find a follow-up adventure or create a follow-up adventure, I will pick that character back up in a heartbeat.
There you have it. Did you post your setting in CypherCon to run? Playtest?
I did. I did not. As you pointed out, I am not one to kind of self-promote.
I mean, I'll put you in the freaking spot because I'm an asshole. That's what I do, right? You should actually just post that in CypherCon, because one, it's going to force you to write an adventure. You have what, 4 or 5 months to get it done. You can get it done in that time.
Perhaps I'll think about it for sure.
Yeah. You know I'm gonna bug you for the next 5 days until you do it, but that's neither here nor there. Jason C asks, what do you like creating the best? Adventures, game rules, or setting?
Either adventures or setting. I'm not a huge fan of writing mechanics. KedHub has mentioned a couple of times in editing with my editing of Void Home. I'm really good at the English part of it, of editing. And Old Gus has been amazing at the mechanics, and so we have kind of complemented each other well. But I'm not always the greatest with mechanics, so I definitely adventures and settings though they have their pros and cons. Adventures are nice because you can knock them out pretty quick, in my opinion, especially with Cypher because they are, the much more narrative nature of Cypher gives you a lot more flexibility in what you write. But specifically this setting that I'm working on with Antediluvian Awakening it's my baby. Because it is the follow-up to my first campaign. So my first campaign, they brought down the Undying King, and the world of Antediluvian and this renaissance that's coming out of it is the direct consequences of my first campaign.
Oh, nice. I always hear the stories of, oh, hey, this massive book came out of a campaign. Like Tolis was Monty's campaign when he worked at Wizards of the Coast. And from that became Tolis. So it's like a similar story, which is hella cool. How long did the campaign run for?
I'm counting, sorry. Probably 2.5 years. And that was back when I was running weekly, so that was 2.5 years of weekly games.
This is not one of the questions, but we ask this question all the time. This comes up a lot. How do you think Cypher handles long-term campaigns? Like, say, a weekly game for 2.5 years. Do you think Cypher is a system that is designed or handles that well?
I think
random questions that come.
That's fine. I think all the tools are there for it. I have never had a campaign go past tier 3 in Cypher, but I think all the tools are there. They give you, I forget if it's the revised version or the original 2015 book, but they both give, or one of them gives information on running campaigns past tier 6, and they give advice on increasing pools, but not raising edge past 6. And you could do things with power shifts. I think there are ways to keep it interesting going long term. So yes, I guess that was a long way of saying yes to your question.
Tier 6 is hella powerful though. Like if you just crafted a bunch of tier 6 characters, they're pretty powerful. Like
yeah.
Like this concept, there's only 6 tiers, but that doesn't mean you're a level 6 D&D character. It'll be the equivalent of a level 20 D&D character, if that, maybe a little stronger. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely, because I think one of the abilities for an adept says you can teleport to other planets.
That's definitely not a level 6 spell, I'll tell you that much.
No.
So this is the point in time, right? Here's where we do our world famous rapid fire questions, right? This is where we dig deep into your soul, right? We go right in there, we rip out your essence, we stretch it on the table for the whole world to see. Are you ready for the world famous Cypher Unlimited rapid fire question? Usually
let's do this.
Usually I would give me a drum roll, but I'll give myself one. Question 1. Player or GM?
GM.
Pull punches or TPK?
Pull punches.
Online or in-person gaming?
Ooh. I prefer in person, but online's growing on me.
Announce the difficulty number or keep it a secret?
I always announce the difficulty number.
Salty or sweet snacks at the gaming table?
Sweet.
RP or combat?
RP.
PDFs or physical books?
Physical.
The picture in the background.
Yeah, I am a book hoarder.
Same here, as you can see. Pen and paper notes or digital notes?
Pen and paper.
Pre-written adventures or original content?
Ooh. Original content.
Yeah. It's funny. We've never had a person, no exception for one. I think Monty might have been the only person that said pre-written adventures. Anybody that's ever written an adventure always says original content. And I say the same corny joke every time. I'm like, you don't want us to buy your products because you only use original content.
Well, I mean, for me, my pre-written are original content.
I think it was either Monty or Shauna were the only people anybody that's ever written anything that said pre-written adventures, which is weird.
Now,
for the record, I agree with you, though. I prefer original content as well.
Now, that isn't to say I haven't run my fair share. I think trying to remember, I ran for Cora, and I can't remember who the other person was, but I ran them through a conversion of a Fantasy Flight Star Wars game I think about a month ago.
It's mostly, you know what? I think Cypher System is one of the easiest systems to convert for.
I have no argument.
Me and Dean, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, were on this kick where we were just trying to convert every 1E or 2E adventure. Like I converted Keeper of the Borderlands. I think Dean actually did a couple. And I know Dean did Dark Sun. He converted a couple of the Dark Sun adventures, and they weren't hard to do.
Yeah, no, it was pretty easy because I was able to keep the adventure mostly as is, and then just plug in my difficulty numbers and go.
Yeah.
Well.
Well, I don't convert to the Cypher System. Adapt to the spirit. That's exactly what I did. I didn't do a 1-for-1 conversion, but I don't think you could do a 1-for-1 conversion from any system to any other system. It's not like you're taking, Keeper the Borderlands from 2E and converting it 1-for-1 to Daggerheart. It's definitely an adaptation. And
yeah.
Charlie said that he could convert an adventure in real time into Cypher. I probably believe that as well.
Yeah, I think that would be easy enough to do, because it's a matter of knowing the system. You can take the story pretty much as is and just know the strengths and limitations of the system you've got, especially with Cypher.
I know someone on the server has been asking anyone to convert some of the Paizo adventures, because Paizo actually has some really good adventures, like Kingmaker, what was that, Rise of the Ruin Lords. And he's been asking someone to. I mean, I don't think it'll be hard to do. And Paizo's and Pathfinder's a little crunchier, but I still wouldn't think it'll be hard to do.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it would be difficult to do at all. The one system I think would be hard to do would be the Vason system.
I've never read any of the adventures on that.
It's just because they say the monsters can't be fought, and I'm not sure how you do that with the Cypher system.
Vason is one of the free league games that runs on the it runs on the same mechanics as Alien RPG, right? Or is that?
Yeah, it's one of the free league games, but they actively say in one of the early, like, you can fight a monster, but it's probably going to kill everyone because normal weapons don't work on them. And like, you probably could do that in Cypher, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around how you would run it that way.
So is the game basically you running? Is it more like a Cthulhu thing where it's how long you can survive for?
It's like, it's not horror. It's more investigative into what's causing these problems with the monster. Like, from what I understand, I've only read it. I've never played it. The monsters themselves are being irritated by the Industrial Revolution, and so the player characters are more investigators trying to like smooth things over, investigate what's going on with the monster, try to smooth things over when you can. If you can't, you got to find a way to get rid of it.
Oh, so it's one of those games where it's social mechanics are more important than combat mechanics for sure.
I can't speak to that because, again, I've not played it.
I think Charlie said the attack above level 10 is 0 in a game with no power shifts. That's vested in Cypher.
That's an idea.
Ken Hub said, Vested, that's easy. Use the situation like I do in Void Home. You're not fighting the monster. You're fighting the situation the monster caused.
It's also a good idea.
That's why we keep those guys around. They're chock full of good ideas. So, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. You know, this was a blast. And get out there and promote yourself more, dude. And step one is running a game in CypherCon based on your new set. The first dig of the.
Okay, I will consider it. I tell you what, I will write the adventure if you sit down at the table.
Done. Shake hands on it. Done. I'll definitely do it. Oh, he said he did an interview for Shadowmane in a couple of weeks. He did or is doing?
So I answered the questions, but they aren't posting the interview until the end of July.
I see how Jason does it. He's holding it out till you got more publicity on the CU. We know the game you're playing, Jason. Release the interview, Jason. The CU demands it.
But no, thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Jason said, I'm looking for free ad space. The whole 14 viewers we have here is all yours, baby. Free pub. No, all joking aside, it was phenomenal, and we really appreciate everything you do for the community. You know, we really appreciate everyone that, you know, is not only supportive of us, but supportive of everyone else that's creating Cypher content. Like I said earlier, we all a little family, right? And if we don't look out for our own family members, no one's ever going to look out for us. And I really appreciate how, you know, the Jason C's, the Ked Hubs, you know, all these people that are out there creating cool and wonderful stuff. We all take the time to BS with each other and support one another. And, you know, you're part of that family, Devon. So, you know, you stuck with us.
There is not a group of gamers, except for maybe my home group, that I'd rather be stuck with.
How do you think I could make money from this someday? Unless you got a mask and a gun, it's very hard in our space. Yeah, somebody, I remember somebody on the chat was like, how do you make money selling Cypher products? My reply was, you got a mask and a gun?
Well, especially for me, because I don't charge anything.
If you like us and you like what we do, oh no, before I even go into that spiel, where can you be found on social media, on in the webs? Where can people find you, support you? Go look, give me all your socials.
So I think Al just shared them in chat, but yeah, we have our website, which is a really long link and not my custom. I'm not going to it. We have our drive-through RPG page. So if you just go to drive-through RPG, search Crazy Weasel Gaming. We're the little teal ferret logo that you see on the screen. And then Instagram and Blue Sky, both at Crazy Weasel Gaming.
Devon's never going to say this, but go to the drive-through account. He has 4 or 5 really cool adventures on there. I know it says pay what you want, but stop being a cheap ass. Don't do $1 or something. He's not going to say it, but I'm saying it. Give the guy $1 or $2. You know, I went and backed all the stuff. You can too. Look out for Devon. Look out for, like we always say, support members. We want as many people creating Cypher content as we can, and the only way that could continue to happen is that we support the people that do so. So yeah, go out there and support Devon if you can.
And if you've run any of them, drop a comment on the drive-through, because I would love to know that they're getting played. More than making money, I'd love to know they're getting played.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of support, if you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord server for all things Monty Cook games. We have the largest fan-run Discord server for everything MCG. But if Discord's not for you, join our Facebook group. It's not as big as our Discord, but there's still great conversations being had there daily. You know, if you find it in the kindness of your heart, give us a sub here on Twitch, or go to Moonbeam and give us anywhere there, give us a follow there, or go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe our videos. We're still trying to grow all 3 platforms, and any help you could give us would be greatly appreciated. If you watch this on YouTube, give it a like and post a comment. It helps us out with the algorithm. Our videos are always free, but those little things really help. Or go to our Ko-fi, give us a little donation on Ko-fi. It helps us out with giveaways and online conventions like CypherCon. Speaking of CypherCon, there's still only 4 days left for GMs to sign up. We really appreciate it if you go run a game for CypherCon, because Devon's definitely going to do that, right? He's definitely doing that, right? That's
I'll have to find the time, because that'll be table number 4 for me, but
we'll make it work, right? Or go to our online store and pick up some cool Cypher Unlimited merch like the hat I got on. And yes, CypherCon merch will be available. Cat Help has his very own design that he still hasn't sent me yet. I'm not throwing Cat under the bus or nothing, but Cat Help, I'm waiting on that design, right? Will be up on our store for sale for the new CypherCon merch coming out. And last but not least, but this is the most important, we love you guys.
Yep, thank you everyone for coming on, listening to Devon, Crazy Weasel Gaming. Definitely check out the website, their drive-through, check out their stuff. Like Anthony said, doesn't hurt to throw a couple bucks at them, even though it is free. Never hurts. But yeah, thank you Anthony for hosting this. Thank you Devon for coming on talking about your stuff. And as usual, from us at the CU, we will see you later. Peace.